Welcome into another edition of Dane Does. Dane Richardson here. It's Dane Does Equipment. Cliff Reagan, Assistant AD for Equipment Services. Parker Koss. They're going to show me all the magic that happens behind Kent State football and Kent State baseball. You guys ready to go?
Let's do it. Yep.
All right, Cliff. I know there's a lot of responsibilities that go behind your job, but tell me, especially during football season, what does the day-to-day look like in trying to prepare these guys to try and get on the field and look really good in those uniforms?
So we get in pretty early, and then for the most part, it's just basically making sure everyone has their gear. They come by the equipment window. We make sure they have all their stuff for practice and getting those things ready for them. In this area right here, particularly if something is going wrong with their helmet, shoulder pads, whatever, then I'll repair it back here. Sometimes I'm here late, sometimes in the evening, so I have to put on my music and I'll have my little tunes here
Okay.
from back in the day, when I first got here many, many moons ago. But that'll help me get through a lot of those times, those periods of the day. But we'll also, once we get the schedules for practice, we'll go through that. Then we'll do practice. And then if it's during the season, like you said, we'll get in our trunks. We have several trunks that we can show you that we're preparing. We'll have a lot of our students hang around and help us get those things together. But it's just really just preparing for either a away game or for a home game, different facets to that. And this year when we go into Sac State, which is going to be really crazy, it's just a matter of just getting things ready for the weekend.
I know that's going to be a long trip in the equipment truck for you
Yeah.
guys. So now I got to ask you got these mixtapes over here. We see a lot of some old school artists for sure. Now, if you got to dive deep into the workday, you got to pick one tape out of there. Where is Cliff going?
People don't know who DJ Clue is. This is, again, I'm from New York City, so we're all about DJing and all that kind of stuff. So there's some DJ Clue, there's some Seals and Crofts. I actually picked all this up from my previous spot where I was when the Philadelphia Eagles, and my guy, he had this, so I'm just kind of carrying this along. But I have a lot of guys, Jerky Boys, probably never heard of the Jerky Boys. But some stuff here is really, really ancient and neat. I would imagine if I try to play into this now, it would just immediately mess up. And you guys probably don't even know the trials and tribulations of dealing with tapes. But that's why, I would say. And then I'm just looking at this one here, old Cameo. That's definitely what I'm putting in right there, Cameo.
Okay, I like it. I like it. We got some face masks and some helmets over here. I know the helmets are a big part of the equipment process, especially with Kent State wearing all these different cool looks every single week. So take me through what the process is to get these guys fitted at the beginning of the season to get the right helmet for them.
I'll have them have a sit down here. And then from there, we'll always have a sheet that the kid will fill out with all his sizes and all his information. And then I'll get my tape measure and I'll measure his head. And then I'll also have him stand up. I'll have him face his back towards me right here, just like this. And then I'll measure his back and see what his measurements are. And then based off his position, I'll choose one of my shoulder pads or the style helmet. He'll tell me, okay, I want a certain kind of helmet. So based off of his size and the kind of helmet he wants, we'll start usually with what we're going to practice in. And so usually that's the Navy helmet, and we'll go with his size. We'll put it on. We'll have him sit back down. We'll make sure everything fits right. And then once we got all the particulars on the helmet correct, then we'll ask him, okay, what kind of face mask do you want? And most guys are these days, whether you're a skill guy, you're an offensive, defensive lineman, they're all going with the same kind of mask. Back in the day, you had the offensive lineman going with the really big cages. Now they're trying to be like skill guys and be all agile and whatever they think they want to be. And then we just try to make sure with each helmet, obviously, we have the gold, the blue, and the white. We'll just make sure after we've established what that helmet is for them and the size and the makeup, then we'll just duplicate that for each helmet. And then we'll just make sure for each week, we're making the necessary changes for that guy. We'll put his name on the inside of it so that we know that it's his. And again, we'll write all the information down in our little book that we have so that we know that we have what he wants. for the games and for practice.
It shows how much detail goes into this process. And if you didn't know, if you've seen Dane Does Football, Cliff was actually the guy that got me fitted for that. It was a very painful experience. We might be doing it a little bit next year. Keep an eye out for some skill positions, but Cliff was the man behind all that magic. We're going to move to next the decal process, which I know a lot of people are interested in because of all the different Kent State logos we had in the helmets, and I know a lot of people are going to be excited about that one. Cliff, can you take me through this? We got a helmet right here. I'm pretty sure this is the helmet Kent State won in their homecoming win this past year against UMass with the baby blues. Beautiful Flashes script sticker across the white helmet. I know there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of detail. You have to always get it right so everything looks the same. Just take me through what it takes to make all these helmets every week.
One of the things we get started before we even start decaling, we find out from all of the seniors, they have coach has a special group of guys that selects all the different decals for each game. And so once we know what that is, we'll create a good, nice little spreadsheet for our staff. And this is my graduate assistant, Aaron. And I pretty much hand it over to him for as we get closer in each week. So what we'll do is once we know what that's going to look like, then we'll have that set of decals set and ready to go. And then I said, Aaron, this is what we're going to do. And then Aaron takes it over.
There's always a lot of different little things with the helmet for what we do. Like even cutting the stripe, we do it different. A lot of people will tuck it in, heat gun it, tuck it underneath the flap of the flex. And then the main thing we want is we want to get every helmet as uniform as possible. So there's no difference in each of the helmets. Spacing on the Flashes script, make sure all the chin straps are the same color, every little minute detail.
Yeah, and I noticed there's the little area code right here. That's got to be a nice little touch because it's every player's home area code. Am I correct?
For sure, yeah. And once the guys come in, like we had once one of our guys get fitted during the spring, and as soon as he saw that that's what we do during the season, he was pretty hyped up.
Kent State football put out a social media post of all their 12 fits throughout the year. I have to say, the game against UMass, this was my favorite one. This helmet right here, the Flashes script, as you can see. Aaron, what was your favorite fit all year long? We'll ask Cliff the same question.
For me, it's that school down the road.
Okay.
That Flash old retro K with
the
all
varsity
white
K.
stormtrooper uniforms. That was it.
Cliff, what about you?
It was definitely the all black or the black with the gold.
Is that the Buffalo
small
game? Yeah.
Buffalo, yeah. So that one was definitely this year was one of my favorites. But I always loved this combination that we started doing this. By the way, I created this. I brought it back. Put it this way. Again, I have a lot of vintage history here, but the K, as we were going through and trying to decide, what else can we do, that was on one of our somebody's car. Again, we had it years ago, and I thought about bringing it back, and it was like, yeah, that's a hit. Let's bring it. So it's been a hit ever since we've introduced it.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll ask about, we have these drawers that have decals on them. Do they have the decals in them right now?
Yeah, so this is what we call the graveyard, basically, where we'll keep the rest of all the decals that we've used over the past couple of years in case we're going to do some recruiting. We'll set up some helmets like this here, but we'll put them all in here, whether it be in this one here. We'll have some down here as well. I mean, there's so many that we do, as you all know, over the past couple of years. We try not to duplicate anything from one week to the next, but it's just because we're accumulating so much, we'll just try to do what we can. Sometimes we do have to throw some stuff away. For the most part, yeah, this is where we will keep a lot of the decals throughout the year so that once we know what we're going to do, we'll have it set up here. And we also, it's not just Aaron and myself, but we have our student managers as well that will come back in the day after practice and throughout the week. Sometimes it'll start on Sunday and end right up until we got to pack the truck or that Friday. The biggest one is the really big Flash. And that one usually takes about a good hour if you're not really experienced in putting that decal on. But usually these ones here will take about a good 15, 20 minutes. But like I said, me with my history of doing it for so long, with that big bird on the side, I can do that one in about a good 20, 30 minutes. Whereas everyone else, it's a good hour and change, maybe.
Experience matters. Now, one of the last things I have to ask you, I know you mentioned with Sacramento State joining the MAC for football next year. What is that process going to be like in terms of loading all the equipment up and getting down across the country to California. Have you guys maybe talked about that a little bit? Because everyone thinks the team, oh, they got to travel all the way out to California. These guys are driving a big truck to get down there with everything getting ready to go. So they're taking the brunt of everything. So tell me how you guys are going to do that.
So as soon as that school down the road game is over with, we'll go ahead and we'll probably have some things already ready to go prior to that game. Already started to filter it out to my trucking company about the logistics of it all, when we're going to depart, looking at maybe doing that Sunday and heading out, getting there somewhere around Wednesday or something like that. But a lot of the gear, and like I said, fortunately, what we use in practice isn't what we're going to use in the game. Fortunately everyone has a duplicate with the exception of shoulder pads. So a lot of the game gear, uniforms, and things for that game will be packed and ready to go. We'll load up the truck somewhere in the mid-afternoon or whatever. The only thing that we just got to worry about is a few last-minute stuff with the coaches, game pants and things of that nature that we'll bring along on the plane. And then if balls and players, shoulder pads and things of that nature. But yeah, we'll load it up on Sunday afternoon and he'll take off. Now, again, fortunately, I don't have to sit in the truck and go that distance and come back. But, fortunately, we do have two guys that will get in there and they'll take the distance.
Cliff, this was a lot of fun. Assistant AD for Equipment Services, Cliff Reagan. Cliff, man, we really appreciate what you do. And Kent State, they're always looking sharp. So keep an eye out coming up in 2026 for all the different uniform combinations Kent State's going to have. Cliff and his team do amazing work. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you guys for having us.
Okay, we're here with Parker Kosh. He's head of equipment for baseball and lacrosse. We got a bunch of baseball jerseys back here, and if you've yet to see Kent State baseball play this year, whether it's at Schoonover Stadium or another visiting ballpark, they're always swagged out with their uniforms. I believe they have 8 different uniforms.
8 total uniforms now, yep.
All right, so take us through all these right here. And I know there's some personal favorites. The gold, they go for sweeps, correct?
Absolutely, yep. Golds we only wear on Sundays if we're going for a series sweep. I would say that my favorite probably is the graphite uniforms that we just
can we take one of these out right
Absolutely,
here?
Yeah. Mine.
How about these? I'm pretty sure they don't wear these too much, but they did wear them the last couple of weekends.
Correct. We just got actually some new pants to go with the top themselves, and as well as a new hat. So they're definitely trying to throw those into the mix now a lot more than they have been. Liking what I see on the field.
Yeah, and here's a big question I think a lot of fans want to know is that with 8 different jerseys, who decides what jersey they're wearing each game in, game out? I know the gold Sunday for sweep, but what about the other 7?
So actually that is done by the pitchers themselves, whoever's throwing that day. They'll either communicate with the coach or communicate with me what they want to wear. I just have to approve it with coach. And then we get rolling on pulling them out and giving them out to everybody.
So it's safe to say Kieran Cahy's a fan of the white pinstripes at home?
And away the grays.
Okay, away the grays. So if you ever need to figure out, all right, why are they wearing this jersey other than the gold? It's because of the starting pitcher. Is Jeff Duncan ever involved in that process ever?
A little bit. I mean, sometimes on the midweeks when a guy doesn't really care what they want to wear, he'll throw out there something that we haven't worn in a while or something that he prefers, but most of the time he'll leave it up to the actual pitcher themselves for that day.
The golds right here, I know these are super popular. Going for sweeps.
Speaking of
Kieran Cahy, which he usually doesn't pitch on these days.
Nope,
He's Kent State's Friday starter. Usually that's Ben Rabatin for Kent State. But these obviously I think are a lot of people's personal favorite. It feels like they've become a trademark of this program.
I was going to say, everybody, anytime we wear them, everybody's talking about it on socials, around the area, so it's definitely a big hit around here.
Now take me through what goes into the hat process and how many different hats they have, whether they can mismatch them with the uniforms and what that process is like.
So I would say that they don't really mismatch them all too much. Each uniform has a set hat that they like to wear for that uniform combo. We did just introduce a 4th hat to go with the gray uniforms, but as before that, it was just the tricolor white panel. We had the navy with the gold panel, and then the all navy hat, and they just do whatever they want with them, whichever combo they want to wear it with, that's up to them.
Now, obviously, the jersey and the hat are a big part of it. I assume the cleats obviously go into it, but tell me the other, because there's a lot of different uniform accessories in baseball. Tell me the other accessories or things to do with the uniform that you're involved in with baseball.
The cleats, I let the guys kind of pick out what styles and, colors that they want. All the armbands, We handle the gloves.
The things that they're throwing off when they get a walk, and they're
all
throwing everything off.
all the arm shields, the leg shields, all that kind of stuff gets ordered through Wilson, actually, not through our rep Under Armour, but we have a great relationship with both of them, and they make it easy on me.
It's something that we might have to do in the future. You might have to give us a recommendation on which player has the most glove swag or something like that. We can go through gloves and bats, but specifically a guy that has a lot of baseball gloves. I think Micah Kirikov's, he's got like a tropical glove in center field.
He's one of like 3 guys that kind of went a little crazy on their gloves. I'm more of a traditionalist. I like the basic tans, browns, that kind of stuff, but if it makes him happy and he keeps making those catches out in center, then we'll take it.
There's not many he doesn't catch. In fact, even those that are going to leave the park, sometimes he jumps over the wall and catches those. We're through with baseball. We'll go over to lacrosse a little bit, and Parker will show us around. We got these cabinets right here with all these uniforms, if I'm correct, baby blue. Absolutely. Tell me how the lacrosse process differentiates maybe a little bit from the baseball. Obviously, very different sports, but all the responsibilities you go through with that.
Basically the same in terms of responsibilities, still ordering everything for them, maintaining all the gear, all the uniforms and everything. I would say the biggest difference between managing baseball versus lacrosse is just being at the facility where the teams play. So lacrosse plays on Dick Stadium Field. They have the locker room here in the stadium. Very easy in terms of that. Whereas baseball, sometimes I'll have to take the uniforms over there in our equipment van or my car or something like that. So just the maintaining everything in a different area kind of, I guess, would be my answer.
Yeah, and we got these uniforms in here. Can we open this thing up?
So the baby blues that we got.
We got the baby blue uniforms with the script Kent State right there, and then the Kent State little flash logo on the back. I'll ask you, with so many different athletes on lacrosse and baseball, like how are you able to manage all of this, especially with both of them going on in the same season? What are some of the things that you do to try and manage that?
Luckily, I'm not alone. I do have my intern, Aiden, over there. Aiden Slayman, he's been with me this whole semester. Prior to, you guys met Aaron. He was also my intern last year. My 2 years in this role, I've never had to be alone in this. A lot of the times I'll be doing something for lacrosse. Aiden will pick up whatever it is for baseball that we need to do, and it just runs pretty smoothly.
Last thing I have for you, I know we talked a lot with Cliff about football helmets. It's a tradition to almost trade helmets with teams you play, correct?
Absolutely, yep.
Now we have all these different helmets up here, mostly college helmets, other than Kent State, because Kent State, of course, is both of our favorite helmets.
Absolutely.
What college helmet is one that sticks out to you that you could say, all right, if I were to showcase one, and it could be very specific, or you could go professional, you could go all the way back to high school, that sticks out to you and you're like, dang, that's a really cool helmet.
I was going to say, maybe the Long Island. Hold on, let me go grab it.
The Sharks.
It was just something different. This is a smaller school, so, you always look for the Tennessees, the Oklahomas, all those schools, but I was kind of surprised that Long Island was willing to do this with us. I was lucky to grab one. I was around for this one, so it makes it even more special. A lot of these I weren't around for. You can tell by the dust settling on the top of them. But yeah, I would say this one. You got cool colors. And
pretty sure that was a very big Kent State win at Dick Stadium. I'm pretty sure that was under Sean Lewis, if I'm correct. So what was it, a punt return? Not a punt return, but a punt block for a touchdown in that game?
Yeah, I think so. Yep,
I wasn't even here yet. Sometimes you just have to do your research. The FCS Long Island Sharks. Parker, Absolutely. This was a lot of fun. Thanks so much, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're here with Joe McAlowitz from Equipment here at Kent State. He's in charge of all things Mac Center. Joe, can you give us a little tour?
Yeah, of course. So we can start over here, the basic stuff. We got our simple stuff. Big washing machine right here. 2 more washing machines right here. Kind of use the big ones day to day. Keep the little one for extra stuff when we need it. Then we go over here. Got 2 giant industrial sized drying machines, This one right here, and then a little bit bigger one right here, handle all the day-to-day stuff.
First question I would have is, on a day-to-day, how much laundry and uniforms are you washing? I know it probably depends on who played a game the day before, but how long does this take, and how much laundry do you guys have to do a day?
It's usually a good chunk of laundry, especially, on a regular day, let's say practice stuff. We're doing 1 to 2 loads per team, and, guys like the wrestling team where, they're in and out all throughout the day. We're doing multiple loads for them, an early load and a late load. So say, with both the basketball teams, volleyball, gymnastics, wrestling, all those teams, we're probably doing 5 to 10 loads a day. And then, you factor in any of the game stuff, and home games, you got the court towels, visiting team towels, all the, warm-ups, game stuff. So it can be a lot of laundry at the end of these days, especially when we got these home events. But it all gets done, you know.
We got these big boys right here. How supercharged are they? And do you put them on high heat all the time? Like, are there special settings? Like,
It's actually pretty simple, not too bad when you're looking at it right here. It's kind of just, you know, hitting a few buttons, but no, never too high, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, cleaning all the athlete stuff, want to make sure it stays in good condition, you know, gets back to them, can wear it all throughout the year, you know, finish the year, still be able to wear it and things like that. So never drying it on too high.
let's take a trip over here. I noticed that by sport here in the equipment room, they are organized by number. So right here we have the men's basketball team from this past season. Rayvon Griffiths, Sion Medley, Rob Whaley Jr. organized by number. As an equipment guy, how crucial is it that you are staying organized with players per team?
Oh, it is incredibly important, especially when we do game day stuff, you know, making sure that everything we give out comes back to us because especially, you know, on a basketball season, you know, playing multiple games within a week, it gets tough, you know. You can wear a white jersey maybe once, twice in a week, so you got to make sure you're getting all the uniforms back, getting all the shorts back, making sure you have everything that goes into the game day, you know, necessities back to you before the next game and making sure, you know, having checklists to make sure all the players are giving everything back. It's definitely very, very important to stay organized and on top of stuff here.
Let me ask a little bit about you, though. What made you want to go into the equipment realm in college athletics?
I'd say, honestly, sports was something I always wanted to stay close to all throughout my life. You know, in my youth, I played a lot of sports, football, basketball, things like that. It was always just a staple to my life. So growing up, I knew I wanted my career to be connected to sports. And I don't know if I necessarily knew exactly what I wanted it to be to start, but so did a little work in facilities, got a little work here in equipment, and definitely started to find my niche and enjoy something a little bit more. So it's been a good time and a good experience because initially I wasn't sure if equipment was something I wanted to do. It was kind of just getting more experience in the sports world and, you know, just meeting more people.
I know we have some more teams organized back there, but one of the final questions I have for you, we have men's basketball right here, or if there's a jersey or a uniform that comes to mind that is your favorite.
I would go with our All Blacks.
Okay, the All Blacks. This is also one of my personal favorites. I know we have the icy whites right here, as I call them. You got the gold that Kent State wears to the MAC tournament a lot. All different types of jerseys. I know baseball has a lot of different jerseys, but tell me why. Why are the black uniforms your favorite?
I don't know, just something about it's a little bit different. I know, you know, black isn't one of our staple colors, so I think it looks very special. We're out in the court in these. It creates a different sort of look, and I really like the script Kent State on the front. It ties it all together.
How about that? Joe, the guy behind all the magic here inside the MAC Center with Kent State Equipment. Joe, appreciate talking to you.
No problem at all.